So I was watching the Game Theorist's video on Fortnite's secret lore, link in the description if you want to check it out. And in the video, MatPat talks about the size of the Fortnite map, and I want to check his work.
Currently, there is no defined size of the island in Fortnite. Many fans think that each large box on the in-game map is equal to 1 square kilometer because that's how PUBG measures. However, that simply isn't the case. I did a bunch of measurements back when the map was divided into a 7x7 grid, and it took 1 minute and 15 seconds to run across each grid square on the map at top speed. If it were truly 1 kilometer each, then the players would be running at 13 meters per second or 29 miles per hour. That's faster than Usain Bolt sprinting at top speed. So for fun, I went and calculated out the actual size of the island. Now, east of Greasy Grove, there's a crashed battle bus. That battle bus closely resembles a Vision school bus design created by the manufacturer Bluebird. Now, assuming that they have similar specifications, the bus should measure at about 40 feet or 12 meters long. Using pixel measurements with the battle bus as our ruler, we're able to determine that each grid on the map would be a much more manageable 330 meters long, 1,082 feet. With a size like that, it means that each player is running at a max speed of 4.4 meters per second or 10 miles per hour. Since the map at the time was 7 boxes wide, and since the island itself hasn't changed size, only the grids on the map have gotten smaller, we can determine that the entire map is defined to be 2,310 meters by 2,310 meters, or just under a 7,580 foot square.
With Season 5, we got these digital speed limit signs within the desert biome of the game. I used it to calculate the max running speed of a Fortnite character, and as you can see, I got the top speed of 12. The problem is the sign does not say whether the 12 is in kilometers per hour or miles per hour, so I had to do some investigating. The first thing I looked at were the license plates of the cars in the game. I found 7 different types of license plates that you can see on your screen now. They obviously have an appearance that resembles American plates more than European plates, but this wasn't enough confirmation for me, so I continued looking around. Then I remembered the Fortnite Season 5 intro, you know, the one that takes place in Southern California, which made me think, if Drift and the all-terrain carts were sucked into the Fortnite world, maybe the desert biome is actually some of Southern California's desert. I went to look for evidence, and the first thing I thought of were the cacti. They clearly resemble the saguaro cactus from our world, so I checked to see if they grow in Southern California, and this is what I found. As you can see from this picture, the part of the map that's solid black is where saguaro cactus grows. So they do grow in just a tiny part of California, but they're mostly in Arizona and Mexico. So I figured since it's possible for them to grow in a tiny part of Southern California, it checked out. The next thing I looked into were these strange trees, which I learned are called Joshua trees, and they also grow in Southern California. Joshua trees grow in the Mojave Desert of Southwest California, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona at elevations from 2,000 to 6,000 feet. Now the last thing I checked were palm trees, which obviously grow in Southern California, but not in its southern deserts, so I started to think it's not based in Southern Cali like the intro video is. Then I thought to myself, where else does the saguaro cactus grow? That would be none other than the hot as hell state I live in, Arizona. Next, I checked the Joshua trees, and they as well grow in Arizona. Lastly, we're back to the palm trees again, which Arizona does have palm trees in populated suburban areas, just like Fortnite's Paradise Palms. Then it hit me. There is a place in Arizona called Paradise Valley, so I looked into it to see if the names of the two places were just a coincidence or not. And newsflash, they're not. Here's a description of Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley is an affluent town in Maricopa County, Arizona. By the way, for those of you who don't know, affluent means they're stinking rich. It's also known for its luxurious resorts, restaurants, and shopping. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot like Paradise Palms to me. And just as a bonus, here are some pictures where you can clearly see a resemblance to Paradise Palms. And yes, Paradise Valley has palm trees. Now that we've established that this new desert biome is at the very least based off Arizona, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the digital speed signs are indeed miles per hour, and we can move on. When you open up the map in Fortnite, you can clearly see the map is divided into a grid that's 10 squares by 10 squares. So the first thing we need to do is measure the distance of one of these squares. I made a flat path from one end of the square to the other. I started and ended it right where the line met the tip of the player's arrow on the mini-map. I timed how long it would take for me to run from one end to the other, and as you can see, it was just over 44 seconds, but I rounded it to an even 44 seconds just to keep the numbers clean. Now that we have the speed and time, we can use a distance formula triangle. In order to find the distance, we must multiply speed and time. That gives us an answer of 0.146 miles or 234.96 meters, but again, we're going to clean up the numbers and just make the distance an even 235 meters. Now that we have the distance of one square, we have to multiply that by 10 because the map is 10 by 10 squares. This gives us a distance of 1.46 miles by 1.46 miles, or 2,350 meters by 2,350 meters for the final size. Sorry, MatPat, you were so close yet so far. I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, he only missed the distance by 40 meters. Keeping in mind he had to measure the map with the crash battle bus because these digital speed limit signs were not in the game yet. That is absolutely insane, and I definitely would not be able to do that. So clap and a half to you guys down at Game Theorists. If you don't get that reference, then you absolutely need to go check the Game Theorist channel out. They're really awesome. They make really cool videos. Just in case you're not sure if I'm right, there's no need to worry. I double checked my work using the distance formula triangle. I calculated how long it would take to run across 10 squares, which is from one end of the map to the other. It came out to be 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Then yet again, I built a path, but not just the distance of one square. I built a path from one end of the map all the way to the other end of the map. Again, starting and ending where my character's arrow tip touches the line on the minimap. It took me 7 minutes and 29 seconds to get from one end to the other. This obviously is off by a tiny smidge, but remember I quote unquote cleaned up the numbers to keep them even, so this could have thrown off the time by just a tad. But in the end, I think this is the closest we've gotten to measuring the distance of the Fortnite map. That's all I have for you guys today. I worked really hard on this video, so it would mean a lot to me if you left a like on the video if you found it interesting or entertaining. But hey, that's just a theory, a correction on MatPat's theory. Thanks for watching.